Back to your point on the e-commerce site, I definitely think that's going to be an absolute must tool for any independent distributor moving forward, because as millennial buyers come in, they demand 24/7 access. They're used to the consumer experience that Amazon provides. They want to be able to order 24/7. They want to, and it's those things, they want to order lock nuts. They don't need to call up a salesperson to order some lock nuts. They can just do that online. But I think where we have a strategic advantage is that we also have the technical expertise in-house. If they want to call up and order controls, or we have value-added services if they want a modified panel. And that's one thing that where Amazon will not have that. I think it's important for us to leverage our relationships with their employees, but also we have to give them what they're asking for. And as millennials increase as buyers, we have to give them that e-commerce platform. And then, like I said, we'll use the value-added services and our technical expertise to keep them with us.
We sort of budgeted an hour for the panel discussion in the hopes to leave the last 15 minutes or so for things that we didn't bring up, things that you might wish to revisit, any questions that you might have of our august panel.
So blogs are dead. What about wikis?
I hardly ever use them. I mean, I don't. Wikis maybe for internal. I have a wiki site, and they're very easy to set up. And if you have SharePoint has basically got a wiki built into it, and you can really build a lot of knowledge with that internally. If you have a champion that kind of leads it, and I think that could be a very, very valuable tool. But I don't think it's to the level of what it used to be, and we're going to constantly see that. I think 5 years from now we may very well forget about Twitter. It's just the roller coaster ride of IT. And what comes about, and then everybody's kind of waiting for what's the next big thing. So, but I think that a wiki could be very valuable for internal purposes, and it could be used for customers as well. But I don't have much expertise in it when we don't do very much with it. So
both are great for search engine optimization anyway, because you're getting the keywords out there and lots of links back. It's just it depends on the content. I think both can be successful. Blogs have lost popularity, and wikis kind of gained it and maybe lost it a little very quickly, much quicker than blogs. But it depends. They can be successful. It's just about the quality of content that's there. I think people are still using both enough that you could have success with them.
Yeah, Don. My question is really about reflecting return on investment back on chasing technology. And in your organizations, how do you vet the technological direction that you plan on going in and balance that against ROI? What sort of process do your organizations go through to determine whether or not an investment in a certain direction makes sense?
Did everybody hear the question? How do you balance ROI with all this fun stuff, and what are the benchmarks that we can use to make sure that we're doing the right thing?
I think it's important to have a very clear picture on what you want, and also to know where you want to go in the next 5 years. Is it going to scale if that's what you're looking to do? I think you absolutely have to, like I said before, do the proper R&D. But mostly reach out to other users of the technologies, compare the technologies.
Some of these technologies are very shiny and fancy and appetizing, and it's important to come up with that end goal, what you actually want to get out of it. And sometimes you can't put a dollar amount on it. It's just impossible. You put a TV up behind the counter for the first time. How do you track how much growth that's actually making? You can walk outside of the counter every day and look at how many people are looking at it, but there's not a hard number you can put on it. So sometimes you have to come up with more abstract ideas of what you want, but it is tough. It all depends on which technology specifically.
If you really want to try to get a true idea of what your ROI would be for any kind of technology you implement, you got to set up measures before you put it in. And so you got to know what the technology is planning on doing for you and how you plan to go about measuring it. And like he said, we have the digital signage too. So how do you track how much that has actually helped in sales? I mean, and that's not an easy thing to do at all. I mean, you really have to, you have somebody sitting there and seeing somebody engaging or watching it and then asking the counter guy about that particular product and trying to get that feedback. And you gotta have, going back to his thing, I like this champion thing, you gotta have that person going around asking this stuff and getting that feedback. And then, that's the only way you can be able to do it. I'm going to keep going to this voice over IP, which is something I'm going through now. How do I go back to management and say, we've saved this much money by implementing this? I can look at, hard costs like our long distance charge has gone down because now we're doing VoIP calls between branches. That's easy, and I can put that in an Excel chart and show them that the cost of our communications is going down. Has it paid for the phone system yet? No. And are we getting anywhere close to it? No. But you get some of the other soft benefits from it, such as those examples I gave you where employees are reacting much quicker and are able to get in touch with the people they want to. Our accounting department just absolutely loves it because it used to always be for them that they would have to call a branch and wait for that person to pick the phone up. And half the time they had to call back later. But now they can see where they're at. They can see that they're on the phone or not on the phone. They can get directly to the person they want and get their answer much quicker than they could previously. So you got to go in there and you got to put those measures in. You got to go back and get the feedback, and that feedback is very invaluable. And be able to present that to management and say, these are the benefits that we're gaining from it. Now, trying to put a dollar amount on that, that's very hard. That's very hard. I mean, you can go in there and take time and then, wages and put all that on and try to put a dollar amount on that, but I don't always think that is very accurate. So it's very challenging. I don't have, a great answer for it, but I try to put some measurements in place before we implement. That way we can go back and look. A lot of new technologies will have utilization reports. That helps too. So the Mass 360 we have shows us how often our employees are using their tablets, but sometimes it's not very accurate because I can't tell you how often they've been in a particular, I can tell you how often they've been using a particular app, but how often have they been using their tablet in general, the whole thing, that's a lot harder to measure. And how often they've downloaded a particular file that we've posted up there. And then we have a business analytical tool, and it shows us how often people have been going in there, how long they've been in there, so how long they actually been in that software using it, and their time frame in there. And you can use some of those things to see how valuable that the technology is as well. So it's all about the measurements.
Yeah, come up with a game plan in the beginning, and I'd say, kind of to summarize, don't be afraid to ask the technology developer how to track it. They know it's a problem for the end user, so data's everywhere now. They'll probably have a solution that they'll be able to pitch to you, depending on the technology of how you'll be able to prove it, because they know it's an issue for us.
So buy from your software vendor an application that calculates your ROI from your software vendor.
Yeah.
In the back.
How do you guys, when we talk about technology, we tend to talk a lot about the outbound, right? How we're going to connect with our customer, our employees. Do you guys do anything strategic in your companies to handle the incoming? I mean, everything from just simply trying to get through a days with the emails or all the information that comes in from our manufacturers. Do you spend much time thinking about that end of it? I mean, I feel like we're always so zoned in on our website and what we should do here and all that, but never about how we handle and try to keep up as a distributor and reproduce that value down the chain.
That's excellent. I mean, we need to do more of that. We're always so forward thinking, and we need to forward thinking with our customers and trying to gain new business. But there are so many back end processes that could be improved, and especially with our manufacturers. I know everybody's talked about it, and so that's something that NAED needs to do, I think, with our manufacturers and our distributors. And I mean, everybody in here is probably still doing EDI. I mean, EDI is just as old as RFID. I mean, it's an old technology, and there's a lot better ways for ERP systems to communicate. There's more information that we need to be able to communicate with our distributors, and then we got to be able to push that straight to the customers as well. We're thinking about it. We've set on a task force with NAD, working with data last year, trying to make improvements there. But it's something that we honestly, as a group, really need to start thinking about more often. We really do.
Yes.
I have a question for Steve. You're developing e-commerce website. The daunting part for us is the inventory. So are you building that in-house, or I know there's some people that have products that are out there, that are almost out there. It's not clear to me that anybody has anything that makes it easy or affordable.
Yeah, it's definitely, it has definitely been a very long road. We've been trying to roll this out for quite some time, and honestly, we're at the point right now with our current product, because we haven't been able to launch that, we're considering scrapping that and outsourcing it to a different product. When you talk about inventory, are you talking, what do you mean by inventory?
I'm talking about getting the stuff loaded up on, somebody can buy something. It's tens of thousands of items.
It's been a challenge. I actually handle all the data content for our website, and we're looking at launching at this point 6,000 of our what we consider our stock products. But yeah, I mean, we support we've got over 1 million SKUs in our catalog, and the data quality is very lackluster as far as like IDW and trade service is concerned. It's really hard to have normalized data. You deal with broken links. So honestly, I've been going out and vetting pretty much everything, and we're creating our own content. It's a beast. But after going through IDW and seeing what they had to offer, and it was kind of a crapshoot. We decided to create our own content because we want to make sure that our customers get the correct information.
It's a large investment of time. And there's no guarantee that it's going to be used all that much.
Yes, and that's the thing is, research has shown that a lot of times, like they go out and Google and they already have the information. They already know what they want. Maybe they don't necessarily need to have all that, that information. And is this, keeping us from launching as soon as we could? Those are all really good questions. I don't think anybody's figured out the correct answer.
That is the perennial one.
Yeah.
One more question in the back here.
Even as knowledgeable as all of you are, where do you continue to get your ideas or see what's coming, what's new? I mean, how do you stay up on that? What would you recommend we bring back to our IT people, or where to?
Fellow podcast listener.
Yeah, we were just talking about it a little bit earlier. I do a lot of traveling in between our locations, so got a lot of road time, and I love listening to technology podcasts. I mean, that's my favorite thing to do, and I was telling him one of my favorites is twit.tv. That's This Week in Technology, TWIT.tv. And there's everything there. Enterprise technology, security technology, stuff about Microsoft, stuff about Google, stuff about Apple, all these things that are coming out. And one of my favorites is enterprise technology. Now, I'm telling you that can be dry for many of you, but if you're into that, that, and then security as well. Security is something that is the new buzzword to me, is intrusion prevention and threat assessment. That's the new buzzword that all of the businesses are going to start hearing about. But that's where I get all of my information from. And then, I do a lot of stuff with the social networking too. Google Plus, I tend to like that more than Facebook. I just feel like it's cleaner, and I find a lot of companies on that, and I just like that platform better than Twitter as well. But I really enjoy the podcast, and A lot of that has to do because I'm behind the windshield a lot.
You have to be a nerd. You have to be passionate about it, going back to passion.
Yeah.
You just have to be interested in it. I mean, the sources are out there. There's thousands of websites, CIO.com and website.com and Inc.com. These all provide information on new technologies. And there's podcasts out there. The information's out there, I think. You just have to have the time to look for it and then be entertained by it for some reason, something in your head. I can stare at numbers all day. You have to like it.
Yeah, I search a lot online for my material. Being in Silicon Valley, you're kind of inundated with it anyways. But if there's something in particular that I want to know more about, I just get on the internet and start Googling. There's definitely tons of articles out there on anything you're looking for, really.
Well, we started with picking by Siri and ended listening to podcasts. So that is the final word on the technology panel. I want to thank Christina and Robert, Matt, for their wisdom and their time. Thank NAED and thanks Greg Chun.